Just thinking of just rereading your comments after the match in that there, Dennis. Do you think that maybe some of the players slightly failed the attitude test on the trip?
No, not at all. It's not. You have bad days. And we had a bad day. It was. I can't question our attitude. Like a lot of our lads, they've grown over a couple of years and they're getting better and better all the time. And it was a tough trip. It's a tough thing to do this time. We don't. And when you back round, I mean, working rugby union 5 years, they used to stay in hotels and stay over. They do it all the time. So and it's a different kind of mentality doing it week in, week out. This time of the year, going to Perpignan is a tough trip, and the lads that did it, you have to leave. You don't get no preparation time in the week because you have to leave early enough. You have to be at the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning on the day. You sat there for 2 hours, then you're 2.5 hours on a plane, then you're 2.5 hours on a bus, and then you're in some totally alien environment. You spend a day there trying to adjust yourself, and then you got to do it all the way back again. It's just we handled it better in the pre-season, maybe because the pressure wasn't as high. But there was a number of changes to our team. One forced on us in the day before with Dave Allen in the back row on that left side. The other one we made changes because of injuries, with Declan Hume playing on the side. And yeah, it was a tough trip, and they've got a little bit of a roll on. They're trying to get some form back at home. There's a decent crowd there. The sun was shining. They had their tails up, and we just didn't respond. And I don't think it was down to attitude. I think it was down to the fact that they came after us and we played poorly.
The game got sort of a little bit loose at times, didn't it? And that suited one or two of the.
It suits Catalans to be like that, and we got dragged into that when we started chasing the scoreboard because we didn't start well, and we got a little bit loose. Like I say, at one stage you looked at the players and it had been end to end for about 10 minutes, line breaks everywhere, chip and chase, drop ball, kick-ons, knock-ons. It was quite a bizarre stage for about 20 odd minutes, and they love to play like that. I think Felicia and Escar really revel in that environment, and then Elliot Whitehead had a really good game on their right edge, and it was a tough day at the office, but we got a chance to sit down after the game in the afternoon in the hotel and had a good chat, talked about things that we need to do better. And that's part of our learning curve. It's one of those that you don't see a rubbish performance coming up. We trained pretty well that week, we looked pretty sharp. The energy was high in the group until we ran on the field. And some of those things you can look around and you can't account for it apart from the fact that the opposition just caught us out. Like I say, we couldn't have got a better start really as well. Their forward pass off the kick-off give us an opportunity, and then we respond back. We drop the ball on that set at 6, and we lose it. The energy that Paddy Flynn, Hep Cahill and Jack Owens and Reece expanded there chasing back to prevent that try from being scored, that had a knock-on effect for about 10-15 minutes into a couple of key plays for us. But we caused that ourselves because of losing the ball in the opposition 20.
In the second half, you got yourself back into it on the scoreboard, didn't you? Just before half-time, till the Whitehead try. But the second half, couldn't get the ball at all.
No, our completion rate in the first half wasn't that bad. It was like I say, they scored a couple of tries off kick returns, which doesn't affect it's just our kick chase. It was pretty poor on our edges, but our completion rate was pretty high, and we got it to 14-8, and then penalty, stupid play. A little bit soft, but on the back, like I say, a bit of pressure for Elliot White to score again. But I think if we can get from field position, we can get some possession in the right area, we could score points. And then the second half, we're down to 32% completion rate. It's not, no matter how good an attack inside you are, with that limited ball, you're not gonna win any games. And when we look like we're getting back into it, Lloyd knocks on from dummy half at the start of the first half, then Lloyd drops the ball from the kick-off after we scored a try, and it was always those kind of things. And Lloyd actually played really well when he came on. Had a couple of errors in the costly to us, and I think overall, the hard thing is when you get a player, also a group of players that have grown an extra leg. They were really hard to stop. They were offloading on us all the time, and we just failed to step in close enough to stop all that. And that's I don't think that's an attitudinal thing, that's just an application thing. Dex, I'd just say, we'll have to wait and see exactly where he sits for Deck, but just a twisted ankle, it looked like, so hopefully it's not too long. I'm still waiting. Joe Mellor's 3-4 weeks away still. Tom Gilmore's 4 weeks away. Phelpsy hopefully will be fit to play this weekend. Steph Marsh is not far off as well. So it does this really tough period where you come out of Times Cup round and then you go to France, so we have one day preparation before you go to France. You come back from France and you have 1 day real preparation before you play on a Friday night against Warrington, and you have no preparation before you play on Monday, then you have to go to Salford and play. So 4 games inside 2 weeks. I know next season will be a little bit different, but we've asked too much of players for a long time, and especially the size of squads, and a lot of teams that are so far at this time are those sides that have no real depth in their squad. And like I say, it's going to be a tough weekend this weekend for us. Our forwards are fine, yeah. It's like Danny Glare he was put on a rotation this weekend. It was one of those kind of things I wanted Dave Allen on the side. I knew that Danny will play Friday night. There was a chance just to get Dave on the other side, and he doesn't travel over there, and the last thing just before, no problems with me, slips and just puts a little tear in his groin. So it was very unfortunate on that side of things. But Danny will come back in. Danny Tickle's still pretty strong. Alex Gerrard again was just rested to give Ben and Eamon and PJ and those kind of lads a chance to play, and Alex will come straight into the starting team this weekend. Hopefully, like I say, Steph will come, Phelpsy will be available on Friday night. Friday afternoon, sorry, not night. Friday afternoon.
I suppose the big thing then, Dennis, bear in mind what you just said about the fixes, is managing the resources.
Well, that's what we tried to do this weekend. It was like, you want to go and try and win every single game, but you've got to be smart in the fact that Catalan's always going to be a tough trip. And there's a baptism of fire for Danny Craven, again for Declan Hume. It was quite frightening, but I'm supportive of what I know they can achieve. We can take this like poor performance, and we can take that real tough day at the office from them, and hopefully see them grow and get stronger from it. The schedule is the schedule, and it's been like this for years, and I think they're hopefully going to change it next year with a different format over Easter. The Championship sides again is the killer for you. The Challenge Cup falls after, and Championship sides only play one game this weekend. So if you've drawn a top Championship side, or you would have done, it's a big ask, isn't it? And the quality, I know it's a weekend where fans like to come and watch games, but the quality of the second game is not going to be as high as the first game. Like on Monday, I'm already thinking about Salford. We finish Friday night, I'm thinking about following Sunday. It's a massive game for us, away from home. Picking your best team and making sure that everybody's ready to play in that game.
So the word is we're going to one game at Easter next year, so we hear. You in favour of that?
Yes. I think one game a week is, I think if you ask every coach, it's an ideal situation, and that ideal situation again falls on it being set as well, like maybe 1 day discretion. And at the moment there's a couple of, I know Castleford have had a couple of tough draws where they've got to go Sunday, Thursday. The only team that's had to do that a couple of times, and that's a massive ask on limited resources for them. And I know when we've had to go that short turnaround, it's a very, very difficult way to approach it. And I think you saw on the way, Huddersfield have had a tough 2 weeks and everybody's getting, but their turnaround to play St Helens in the Cup was tough, and then from Sunday to Thursday again was and to go to Hull after playing and losing the Thames Cup. Scheduling is very, very cause and effect kind of mentality. Like you say, you can't play Sunday in the biggest game of the season and lose by a drop goal just before the end of the game, and then expect to be massive against a very, very tough opposition and their home ground on the following Thursday. We've had a Thursday turnaround.
Do you think the Easter game has got harder in the modern era? I mean, you hear older players, perhaps older than you, say, the old story of Easter players twice a day.
Well, comparing the game 10 years ago, never mind 20 or 30 years ago, it's totally unrealistic. The game today is a completely different game. It's got the same kind of premise about run hard, tackle hard. But the modern day player is a completely different animal than it was when I first started playing until when I finished playing, and when I finished playing until when I played that. And if you're playing now, it's a completely different game. Both like in the size of the players, the physicality of the players, the fitness of the players, the durability of the players, and all of the impact is just far greater. And that's where all of the problems come from.
Fans always view this as one of the biggest games of the year. Is that how they?
Well, yeah, that's the way we've always carried that mentality. It's a local derby. It's great for our supporters. But last year we did what we did, and it gave them a real boost and a real understanding of what we were trying to do, and to make them proud of this team again. With how we were playing against St Helens, how we played against Warrington, and that was kind of local. That was local bragging rights. Our neighbours is important to the supporters. So yeah, it's a massive game, whichever way you look at it. And yeah, it's nice to be where we were last year, and their form this year is probably going to help them coming out for a game on the weekend. To know that having watched a game on the weekend, they'll be coming out and looking for a response to their second half performance, as we're good looking for a response from our lads as well. So it's got the markings of like one side having to find their feet quickly.
It seems we've somehow lost a bit of attacking cohesion this year, don't you? Warrington, if you look at the points for, they were the team that was scoring at the top of the scoring charts, and they don't seem to be able to get across the line as much this year. Do you think that's to do with the players? They've lost quite a number of players. When
you change personnel, it's just that ability to stay on track and stay connected, and then confidence. At the moment, like I said, they're not as confident as a team, and that has an effect on your attacking ability. Then things come off for them when you're confident. But to say that they won't get that again when you look at the personnel in their team, that's, like I say, you're a fool if you think that the Warrington side's not going to be competing at the end of the year in that top four and looking to cause some upsets along the way. They're still early in the year, they're still in the Challenge Cup, and they'll still be punching towards the end of the year.
Johnson came off, that was just a cut, was it, down to the head, was it? Johnson came off with on?
Yeah, he just had a real big gas in his head.
Craven also.
Craven just poking the eye.
Was it?
Yeah,
right.
He just got a straight arm as he was going into a contact and just knuckle deep into his eye, which is always pretty sickening. And that was it really on the weekend. Yeah, like I say, it's amazing how sore you can feel when you lose. And there was nothing too bad. The game in O'Carroll's shoulders, our biggest problem at the moment. I think he came off County's shoulder. We've had a scan yesterday, waiting for about some results on that. On the back of him, I've just come back from an operation about 9-10 weeks ago. So that's the one thing at the moment that I'm hoping is going to be on the good side for us.